All right, ladies and gentlemen, friendly reminder. I'm sticking my tongue out to you. You can't see it, but I am. Friendly reminder, tomorrow you do have your first vocab quiz in what feels like centuries. So please make sure you are ready to go for that. It's 1 through 10. I can ask you any of the words in the first 1 through 10, so please make sure you're ready for that. Brady?
Does that include like the book title stuff on
Yes, all of that is fair game. So, please make sure you are ready to go for that tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm teaching enlightenment, which is also one of my favorite things. This is like one of my favorite weeks of the entire year. I just think this content is fascinating, and it absolutely, wholeheartedly shapes the world that we live in, and I think that's incredible. So please make sure you are ready to go for that. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot stress, I would absolutely start working on your assignments and starting to get ahead. Next week, I will tell you, I'm working on that right now, and it's a pretty light week. So it's interesting because it's about the industrialization and how it spreads and stuff like that. As I told you, it is a huge fundamental component of what is happening and stuff like that. But we are going to go from there. Okay, here we go. So, enlightenment. The Enlightenment is the beginning of Europeans really start challenging and starting to think of different ways to run governments and how governments aren't satisfying the needs of the average citizen. Okay? So, when we talk about European intellectual life, it's going to start in medieval scholasticism. It's going to start with St. Thomas Aquinas. Okay, and he's, just so you know, 1225 to 1274. Okay, his big things are use reason to defend faith, argued through writing, and debating, relied heavily on Aristotle, and used little, but did it, experimentation. Does this sound like how we deal with problems today? What? So, he is going to be the foundation of how Europeans are going to tackle scholasticism as well as arguments and all of those, what will become as seen to be as refined thoughts. During the Renaissance, we have the idea of humanism, and that's going to be supported by Erasmus, who lives in 1466 to 1536, just so you have a little bit of idea, and Mirandola, who is going to exist from 1463 to 1494. Miran. Okay, so they are both going to wrote practical books. Then don't use them as evidence, dude. What do you want me to say? If you can. Sure. Or practical books such as Machiavelli's The Prince. Okay, emphasized human achievements. Matt, you're stressing me out, dude. Focused on secularism and the individual. So they're removing what from the conversation? Religion. Okay, and that is very much so a huge transition. Okay, scientific revolution and enlightenment. Couple big people you need to know. Francis Bacon. Isaac Newton. Thomas Hobbes. John Locke. And French philosophes. Okay, so you do need to know that they are going to emphasize as a collective. Emphasize. Use of empirical data. What is empirical data? Ones that are backed by numbers. Okay, so empirical data is something that is not supposed to have emotion or thought. Now in 2021, do we believe in empirical data? Are we sure? Believed in natural rights. Progress.
Wait, are they all French?
No, they're not all French. Some of them, so French philosophes, they're going to be much more minor, which is why you don't need to know their names and reason. They wanted new constitutions. They supported religious toleration and wrote for the reading public. Okay. So those are the major thoughts behind them. Okay. So American Revolution, one major cause is opposition to taxation. Now, it is important that you understand that taxation is not that we oppose taxation. It is the fact that we got it without representation. As a citizen of England, we are protected by the Magna Carta that said no taxation without representation. So that's where we got that belief. Okay, so we believed we are full citizens of England, but England was like, no, you are a colony of England, which makes you not complete citizens of England. And so only citizens of the actual island get to be represented by Parliament. So that just difference of what makes a full citizen in colony is what is going to lead to the complication. It is going to lead to the establishment. Two major results: established independence. I don't know why I'm struggling so hard this morning. And created a written constitution. Does anyone know what year we had our written constitution? No. Is that the only year we know in U.S. history? It's 87. Okay, so the French Revolution. It is the opposition to the growing concentration of wealth is the real problem. It is the wealthy keep getting wealthier and the poor keep getting poorer. That very old thought, which is still, of course, happening today. So the outcomes, they are going to overthrow the monarchy. Okay, ended feudalism. And serfdom. Now, of course, most serfs are going to be freed post Black Plague, but we do still have some people still stuck in this trend, and that will eradicate it. Haitian Revolution is all about the opposition to slavery. Okay, it led to end of slavery. And it redistributed land from free. Redistributed land from free blacks and freed men and women. Okay? And then you have the Creole revolutions, which is opposition to European control. This is what we would consider your Spanish revolt. And then it's going to establish several independent countries. And led to social conflicts. What? I have no idea what you're saying to me. No. Okay. There you go. Now, I'm asking you to do the best you can. I'm not asking for you to do it perfect. Here we go. This is your Atlantic. Over here is Sweden, Norway. Okay. I'm going to write Great Britain because we're going to put a lot of stuff on this little island. All right. We are going to draw a black dot right here. This is Manchester. We're going to put a black dot right over here. That is London. And over here is Liverpool. Okay, up here we have Glasgow. This is your North Sea. Right here is Denmark. This is your Baltic Sea. Currently, this is going to be controlled by what we call Prussia. Okay, over here, of course, is Russia. Over here, this is Warsaw, which is Poland. All right. We're going to build our way back up, but we're going to start down here. Here we go. All right. Over here is Spain, of course. This is Lisbon, which obviously means this is Portugal. Over here is Madrid. Barcelona is over here. This is France. Here is Paris. Lyon is here. Marseille is here. Here we have Rome, Naples, Florence. By the way, if you're interested, Ren and I are going to Italy, and we're going to these cities, Venice and Milan, which I've not been to yet. And I'm super excited about. Because I like northern Italian food anyway. Everything. They shouldn't be unified. There's a petition in Italy right now saying that they want to back up into city-states. They don't want to be a country anymore. Okay, over here you have the Ottoman Empire. Okay, up here you have the Austrian Empire. Along here you have a city called Buda. And across the way you have a city called Pest. What is it called today? Look at you.
Wait, are they separate?
They used to be. Okay, here we go. Over here, we have a city called Brussels, which I've been to. It's very pretty. And this is Belgium. Over here, you have the German Confederation. At this point, Germany and Italy are not unified. So it's the German Confederation. Over here, you have Frankfurt. Over here, you have Munich. Berlin is over here. Okay. Over here, this is still kind of in Prussia. It's also known as Saxony. Okay, over here, you have Vienna. And this is what we call Bohemia. These mountain area. Okay, over here, in this region, you have, in Poland, you have Breslau, and then you have Cacao, Cacow, Cacao, all in Poland. Obviously, this is your Mediterranean Sea. This is your Black Sea. Caspian Sea. And this is your Mediterranean Sea. All right. It's Mediterranean, dude. Okay. You need 4 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. You need 4 boxes. The first one is major, industrial, areas. These are railroad lines by 1800. Iron ore fields, coal fields. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to industrialize, you need to have 2 items. You need to have iron ore and coal. Iron ore and coal is required in order to make iron, which is required to make the machines, and you need the coal to fire the machines. If you don't have iron ore and coal, you can't make iron. Without iron, you don't have machines. It is a big, big deal, and it is the foundation to how geopolitics will be set up for the next 200 years. And you're going to see why here in a second. We are going to start with the iron ore fields. Remember, if you don't have iron ore, you cannot make iron, which means you cannot industrialize. It is absolutely necessary. My blue dots are a symbol of iron ore. Okay, without them, you cannot industrialize. Here we go. We have them outside Glasgow. We have them in mid-England. Outside Manchester. We have them on the outskirts of London. Okay, so that's iron ore. Let's go to Spain. In iron ore, they have only a few in Spain to the north. They also have a bunch over here by Barcelona. In France, they have them to the south. They have them by the city of Lyon. And they also have some out by Normandy. What? Okay, so let's talk. Oh, is that easier? Okay, so let's go to Germany. Germany has some by Frankfurt. It has some in what will be Austria. Okay, but let's head to Poland. There is some here. There's a ton over here. And over by Cacao, it has 2 more. Ladies and gentlemen, what country is going to be conquered in every war with big societal consequences? Poland. And why does everyone want Poland? Iron ore. That's exactly why Hitler is going to take it. Okay, they need the resources in order to continue the war. So they invade Poland in 1939 in order to get the iron ore reserves. Okay, so red is my next color. These are cold fields. You cannot make iron without iron ore and coal. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in the 1750s, the whole world is going to transition from wood to coal burning. Okay, so what is the most important resource in Europe at this time? Coal. You cannot industrialize unless you have coal because it will be what will power all of the engines as well as the homes. Here we go. We'll start in England. Do the best you can. I'm not looking for perfection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. What are we seeing immediately off the cuff? They have a lot of coal. Ladies and gentlemen, do you see why England is the first to industrialize? Okay? And that is the point of this map. Oh, we forgot out here. That's Ireland. And yes, of course they do. But there's not a ton of natural resources there. Let's start in Spain again, ladies and gentlemen. So, as we were going, as you can see, does Spain have a lot of natural resources? Yes. However, it's going to cause a lot of problems. So that's Spain. Who has no resources over here? Portugal. Portugal has no natural resources. How is Portugal's economy at the moment? Yeah, it's on the brink of collapse. Okay, so it is never recovered. Remember, we talked about the high point of Portugal is going to be in the time we've already studied. It is behind us. Okay, here is France. How is France doing? Yes, France has tons of coal. They are going to industrialize very, very quickly. Look at all these natural resources. Yes, they're incredibly powerful. Okay, so because of the natural resources naturally occurring in their countries, it is going to give them a huge benefit. Okay, Brussels does have a couple coal. Well, Belgium does. Okay, there's one thing here on the England, and then over here Germany has some, not a ton, but it does have some. Okay, over here in Saxony, they do have a couple. Not bad. Okay, now let's focus on Poland. Ladies and gentlemen, what country will be the focus? Poland. Yes, John.
Why is it called a coal field? Is that like?
It's just like because it's underneath the ground. It's not coal mines because it's like it spreads out. It's more. It's not like silver mines and stuff. They go down into the ground and they pretty much stay in like a channel. Coal fields, they clear out football fields on football fields on football fields of flat surfaces. What?
How did like Saxony and like Austria and rise to power?
They don't. Saxony gets conquered by the Germans. Why do you think the Germans are going in there? Yeah, they want the coal. So it's going to be conquered in the German unification, which is coming very quickly. Okay, here we go. I'm using dark green as my railroads. Railroads are going to be invented in 1725. Okay? It is going to go a whole 5 miles per hour, and it's going to change the whole world. Railroads are super important because of their ability to move natural resources. Yes, moving people is fine, but the real goal, even today in 2021, what is on our railways today? No, it's all of our stuff. All those ports, you know how our West Coast is packed? It all goes on our railways. Okay, so the very few, how many of you have ever been on a train in the United States? Exactly. Subway is a regional thing. I'm talking like a train. There you go. Okay, so here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is one thing to have natural resources, but if you cannot access those natural resources, there's no point in having them. The only way to economically get these natural resources to the factories is by railways. I am simply asking you to do the best you can. It does not need to be perfect. Let's start in England, shall we? Here we go. What are they trying to do, ladies and gentlemen? They're trying to connect all the fields, because if all the fields are connected, everyone has access. And that is very important. So when we're talking about railways, okay, the most important thing that we can do is get those connections. Now, in France, they are going to connect like this. Okay. Over in Lyon, we have that railway, and then Marseille, we have that railway. So, ladies and gentlemen, comparing England to France, which one's going to be more economically productive? Who is the economic power? England. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at Spain for a second. Here are your railways. What country does not economically develop?
Spain.
It's because they're having political turmoil and they can't organize themselves. So guess who's going to invade them in World War II? Germany. They're going to pair up with them and go from there. Okay? Here we go. So let's go to Italy. How's Italy looking?
Not good.
Yeah, they've got nothing and they've got one train. Okay? Milan. They have one train and it goes to Switzerland. Nothing is in Switzerland. Okay. Vienna to Venice. We have a train. Okay. And we have some diversion here. From Vienna, we go to Buda. And that connects to, actually just goes to Buda, but that's fine. Okay. So for cacao, we have a train that goes to Vienna. And then we have one train. Actually, we'll get to that because Germany gets wild. Okay. So those are the easy ones. Here we go. Germany, do the best you can. Doesn't need to be perfect. Actually, let me do a big one. Brussels. It is going to go. and then it's going to land here. They're Germans. They know how to do it. They're nothing if not efficient. All right, from Berlin, we're going over here. Do the best you can. It doesn't need to be perfect, but we do have one route that comes here. Goes like that. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, why do some countries industrialize and others do not? Natural resources. It's all about the natural resources. Some have them, others don't. Because of that, we are going to see that what country is absolutely ready to go for the Industrial Revolution? England. By the way, I'm using yellow to indicate my industrial areas. Okay, so do the best you can. Glasgow becomes an industrialized area and all around it. Manchester and Liverpool become one of the most congested places in the world because of how close the natural resources are to them. And London is industrialized as well. Okay, so right off the cuff, we already have a ton of industrialization. There is no there's no major industrial areas in Portugal, Spain. There's only one in Paris. In France, I mean, it's in Paris. There is one just to the over by Frankfurt. Okay, so getting into Germany, we're going to start seeing Berlin is going to be one of the largest areas in the world. Saxony, which is going to be controlled by the Germans, will also be. Okay. And Brussels is actually going to be a major industrialized place because they are importing goods. They are one of the best importers in the world. Okay, over here in Saxony, over here in Bohemia, we're going to have some industrialization. And Milan is the only place that is going to be industrialized in Italy. There you go. They're importing. Poland is not industrialized. It does not industrialize until it gets conquered by the Russians. And why are the Russians going after Poland? Look at all the natural resources. Ladies and gentlemen, this map of the natural resources is going to decide geopolitics for the next 200 years. The most sought after place in the world is going to be Poland. Spain is also going to be number 2 because of the natural resources. What 2 countries are going to be the most powerful during the 1800s? England and France. No, Belgium is going to be very wealthy, don't get me wrong, but they're importing and exporting. If we're talking natural resources and the ability to produce, it's going to be England and France. Because of that, they are going to be the largest imperializing powers. Why? Because they can. Okay? They have all of these goods, they need to sell them. They're going to need more natural resources, so they're going to fight for it. Germany has real potential, has a bunch of resources around it, but not a bunch in it. So what is it going to start doing? Conquering territory. So the unification of Germany is going to spar 4 wars. And that is how Germany is going to become a European power. Once they become a power in the region, they're going to need more natural resources, which is why World War I starts and why World War II starts. Germany overuses their resources. Germany wants the west coast of France. No, the east coast. East side of France. Why? Look at all these natural resources, ladies and gentlemen. They need France in World War II. That's why they go right after France in 1939. As soon as they take Poland, they go for France. What do you got? What do you got?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a great reason because Spain has tons of natural resources. Jackson, color your damn map, dude.
That was the next.
You're done? So, the reason why Spain and Poland do not become political powers is because, political or economic powers is because the government is not ready to make the change. You have to have the right people in place who can benefit from it and who have the foresight to see it. So, they're just mismanaged, which will make them targets, which is why Hitler, all that stuff is going to shine through. Ben?
So does nobody want to conquer England?
No one can conquer England.
They're just like unconquerable.
Well, at this point, they've already, 1588, they're the most powerful country in the world, and then on top of it, we had the Industrial Revolution, which makes them the world's first superpower. England's untouchable, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot touch England until 1918 when the United States oversees them and overtakes them. And that's because we got the Industrial Revolution and our factories are completely and utterly intact after World War I, while England's are destroyed. We simply benefited from the opportunities presented by World War I, and that's why we supersede them. We're also, huge in comparison to England. Continental. Matt, you had a question?
Yeah, so if Hitler wasn't vegan and so and stuff like that, why would Jews
It's just an ability to blame, scapegoating. They're an easy target. They've been historically hated on, and it's just used as a justification for their cause. What do we think? Isn't it cool? Doesn't it make sense why some countries are powerful and others are not? And why some countries are targeted and why some countries are willing to risk it all for others? It's interesting. Bye, sweetie.
So the SAQ, I didn't see. Did you regrade that or?
I don't
like
know.
the graded-
I don't know what I have done and have it. Yes.
Okay.